Hi everyone, I'm Sophie Monsibais with the Northeast Georgia History Center, and today we're going to make some fun suffrage crafts. Now, what is suffrage? Suffrage is the right to vote. Before 1920, women in the United States did not have the right to vote. So, a movement was created by women and men who believed that all people should have the right to vote. Now, today is February 14th, Valentine's Day. But it isn't just Valentine's Day. It's also the League of Women Voters Day. That's because this league was founded by suffragist Carrie Chapman Catt on February 14th, 1920. There's a long history between suffrage and Valentine's Day. Going back to 1910, the National American Woman Suffrage Association began a postcard campaign, partly to raise awareness of the cause and partly as a fundraiser. The cards could be funny, serious, or romantic. Some of the cards used powerful patriotic symbols and logical arguments to make their case for women's right to vote. Before the passage of the 19th Amendment in 1920, suffragists used holidays like Valentine's Day to promote the cause of votes for women. Each Valentine's card was the chance to change someone's mind. So let's make some of our own. My first step to recreating historical Valentines was studying historical Valentines. The suffrage movement took place around the 1920s, which was a great time for illustration. Photography had not yet taken off as the primary way to show an image, so instead we have drawings. And the style at the time was very elaborate and intricate and decorative. However, I do not draw. But that doesn't mean that I can't make pretty things. So I went back to my grade school days and I remembered making collages. So that is what we're going to do for this project. So for my collages, I used magazines and books, but I did not want my pictures to look too modern. I wanted them to look historical, or as much as I can. This is for fun and not to be perfect. So right away, when I think of the 1900s, I think of fancy dresses. So I grabbed this wedding magazine. And right here is a page, I tore it out, where we have all kinds of ladies in wedding dresses. This is good because we have like a full body picture. So you would just go ahead and cut that out as best as you can. But in general, this magazine was nice to flip through. It has a lot of really fancy looking pictures. So that was a thing that I was looking for my first magazine. So then another one that I grabbed to use for like details, especially because I like flowers, and back in the 20s I think of like Art Nouveau and Art Deco when everything was really fancy. So this one is called Splendid Spring, Glorious Gardens. And it has tons of pictures of gardens in it, fancy trees. There was a whole page that had little pictures of flowers. So I just go through the magazines. Anything that I like that I think might work well for my project, I just tore it out. And then I stacked it up. So these were the two magazines I grabbed. And of course, if you have any old magazines in your house, even better. I also went to my favorite store, the thrift store, and I got this children's book. And of course, before I cut up any old book, I always Google it to make sure that it's not secretly valuable, because that is a fear that I have, that I will cut up something valuable. So this book was already torn inside. It was no problem in me tearing it up. So this one is, nursery rhymes. It's kind of the colonial era, which isn't quite the time we're looking for. But like I said, we're just doing this to have fun. So right here is a picture of a very pretty girl in a very pretty dress. I liked this one. Right here we have a lady with like a dressing gown. Very nice architecture, very nice things like that. So those are the kinds of images that I was looking for. Got a girl on a swing. Those are the kinds of things I was looking for my project. So I have gone through my magazines, I've gone through my books, I've torn out anything I think is interesting, anything that's just remotely interesting at all, I tore out. I stacked it up. So those are the pictures. Now for the backings for my Valentines, I used decorative paper. So luckily I already had this at my house. I actually, I make crafts all the time, so I just have tons of really nice paper and things that I save. So I used these because they felt antique. They have nice scrolls on them. It just felt old-timey. This is some construction paper, and when I bought it, the colors had faded a little bit, but I kind of like that because to me it made it feel old. And then I have this other one that has sort of like a linen texture on it, and it has a very soft color. I thought that would work well for Valentine's Day, for something historical. And then this right here is like a little translucent sheet. And this is cool because you can kind of put it over something and it'll give it an extra design. Or you could even put it over a finished Valentine and make it look kind of fancy. So now that we have all of our supplies together, let's go ahead and make one. So for this one, I decided to use my purple pastel linen paper. And then I already cut this one out because it takes me a long time to cut things out. When I was a kid, I was really bad at cutting things out, but now I'm good at cutting things out. So if you're bad at cutting things out, you can get better. So right here is, I picked this girl because she had a very powerful stance. And I thought that worked well for our message of women's suffrage. So I've got my paper, I've got my girl, and I've got a glue stick. Glue sticks are very nice. I don't use them as much as I'd like because it's hard finding an occasion to use one, but I do love me a good glue stick. So I'm just going to go ahead and put a generous amount of glue on the back. And then I want her to be at the base, so she's sort of gesturing out. So that's where I'm going to put her. And you can go ahead and take your time, make sure she ends up in the right place. And just press her down. So on the historical Valentines, there will always be a message. So we have votes for women, we have love me, love my vote. So for this one, I'm going to write votes for women because that feels very inspiring. And when I write these, I kind of want them to look fancy. So I pick like a sort of felt tip pen or a pen that has like a squishy nib. So this is actually an Expo marker. I don't know where it came from, but I found it at my house. And then this is a micron pen. Honestly, you can use any pen that you want, but I just thought I would use these because it would give an extra flair. So, and also I'm going to write them in cursive because I think that would make it look super fancy. All right, so we've got our message right there. And I like this one simple, so I am just going to leave it simple. But I made some at home that I really jazzed up with some extra accessories and different techniques, different drawings. So let's go ahead and look at those. All right, so this is the very first one I made, and I used the Love Me, Love My Vote slogan. So for this one, I cut out some pictures of two little girls, and I put them side by side. And then I thought it needed something extra. So from my garden magazine, I grabbed this picture of some flowing flowers, and I stuck that at the top. I really like this one. Purple's my favorite color too, so I'm quite pleased with this one. And this one, like the one we just made, I kept simple with no borders, but for some of the other ones, I added extra details. This one right here, I really liked the drawing on this one because it has a mother and a little baby. I really like their gaze. It's very loving, very nurturing. So for this one, I grabbed some ribbon from my craft stash and I just hot glued it on the side. If you are using hot glue, of course, be careful because it can burn you. But yeah, I just thought that the little velvet ribbon kind of elevated the Valentine, gave it a fancy look to it, and it complements the baby very well. This next one, for this next one, I used a picture of me. I'm a photographer, so I do just have pictures of me in costumes lying around. And then for the background, I had like the U.S. Capitol. I thought that was really fitting, and it also matched the costume. And also for this one and this other one, I used the micron pen because I thought it would be a little bit more delicate. So anytime a picture looked delicate, I used the softer pen. And then I hot glued these little leaves on the top. I actually did this because I messed up and I wanted to cover it up. But it also looks cool. Like if someone handed this to me, I would probably keep it because it looks cool. And then for the last one, so all of these I had pictures of ladies on them, but that doesn't mean that you need to have one. So for this one, I used a hat. I like this one because it's unapologetic. Sometimes I joke that I have like a granny aesthetic, but you know what? I don't care. I like the frill. I like the lace. You can see right here in the back where I hot glued it on. I don't know. I just think this one's really cute, and I am very happy with it. So that was my Women's Suffrage Valentine's project. This was really fun to do. It was really quick. I got out some of my creativity, and you can make your Valentines as simple or as complex as you want. So if you make your own suffrage Valentine, we would love to see them. You can post them in the comments below, you can message us on Facebook, or you can email us at info@negahc.org. Thanks so much, and happy Valentine's Day and League of Women Voters Day. So for this craft, you're going to need 3 colors of construction paper, which will be white, purple, and yellow. For these, I got some extra long construction paper and I just folded it up and cut it. I'll show you a little bit more about that. You'll also need a piece of ribbon, a glue stick, some scissors, and a marker. So for the paper, what I started out with was I folded the paper and then I cut it along the line just so that I got this nice little rectangle. And then I did the same for my other colors, but I just folded it twice so that I got a thinner strip. Now what you're going to do is you're going to fold these once again, but this time we won't be cutting it. And we're going to do that for both of the extra colors. When I fold paper, I like to hold on to the edges and then pinch the other side so that I make sure it's even. But if yours doesn't come out even, that's totally fine. All right. So now that we have our pieces folded, what you're going to do is take your glue stick. Oh, I like that pop. And you're going to glue one side. Now that you have your one side glued, you're just going to place your white paper right on the crease. Now you can put glue on the other side. And while the glue's wet, you can still slide it around a little bit. Okay, and now you're just going to fold it right over. And I did it this way because I thought it would look nice if the edges were bound. And also, this edge will kind of hopefully prevent you from getting like a paper cut or anything nasty. There we go. So now you're going to do exactly the same thing with the purple. There we go. So now we have a nice little colored strip. Now we're going to put the text on, so that's when you're going to take your marker. And on this one that I already made, I have the yellow on top. So you're going to go ahead and write it so that your yellow is on top. Sometimes it's hard to make sure your writing is big enough but not too big. So there we go. And now to wear it, what I do is I have the ribbon, and you're just going to cut a little slit on each end. Then you're going to take your ribbon and do one side up through the hole. You're going to come in through the back and then tie a knot. Or you could tie a bow. Okay. Now, the reason I did it with the ribbon is so that you can fit it to you. So go ahead and put it on your shoulder and then run the ribbon through the other side. And then you can just pull it until it fits you the way you want it to. And I like it this way because then you can kind of flail your arms around and you don't have to worry about it breaking. So now that we have it tied right there, I'm going to go ahead and tie another knot. And then you can trim off any extra ribbon that you have. So yeah, thank you for watching, and I hope you like your sash.